on. Hello. Bad hole. Good hole. I couldn't resist this, sorry. I'm making a table to go by the armchair for my wife for our 41st wedding anniversary. And this is where I'm at the moment. This is a mock-up. In this episode, I'm going to be using some of the tools that I have to make templates to help me make the final top and the final base. It has to fit on my CNC. It's too small to cut out the whole oval in one piece. So what I will end up doing is cutting in two halves, make a template of two halves. Put the two halves of the template together and then route around it to make the full oval base. So I've got two halves of my template, but that wasn't a very good carve. It turned out that the plywood I used was warped, so it was doing a deeper cut than I had programmed. One came out quite well, the other one's not so hot. So I think I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to use MDF. It's a poorer quality MDF, but it's more stable. And then I'll be able to make a choice which one I use, if any. What's the expression? Every mistake is a lesson in disguise. I just got an awful lot of lessons from just carving out this one piece. I made a mistake. Actually at the design level, and I realized halfway through cutting it out in the MDF that I'd oriented this cutout for the leg in the wrong way. I want the leg to be like this, and what I've actually done is oriented this hole the other way. So I got pissed off and I realized that I'm going to have to do that again. Not going to be a huge problem. On the second one I'll cut it right, I'll mark this one as bad, and I'll work around that. But what did I learn? Because I was so pissed off, quite honestly, I made the mistake because I'm rushing, because I'm doing things and I'm like running down to the shop to do a little bit of carving and then going back upstairs. And it's a lesson, don't try and do two things at the same time. It's a recipe for disaster. Second thing I learned is that I'm never making a template with ply again. It's very hard, it's rough. This thing is razor sharp. So the quality of the template that has cut out is much better. Secondly, because it's a softer material, and I was pissed off, I ramped up for the first time ever the feed rate of the bit as it goes around. Normally I run it around about, let's say, 1000 millimeters per second or per minute or whatever it is, 1000. And I was so irritated, I just ramped it up to nearly 2000 and it coped with it fine because it's a soft material, and it cut the carving time in half, more or less. So another lesson. I've got to do some experimenting on different materials and finding out the optimal feed rates and depths of cut. So, time to now make up for my mistake, redesign it and run it out. But we'll get there. So I've got the template cut. I mean, there's the plywood one. You can see, hopefully, it's really not very, I mean, it's good enough, it would work, but it pales in comparison to the effect that I got with the MDF. So the idea is that I'll take some double-sided tape, fix it to my MDF that I'll be using for the base with some judicious alignment, something like that. You can see I've got a bad hole and I've got a good hole. Once I've got that tape down, I'll take it to my bandsaw, which is in another part of my workshop, and I'll trim close to the line and then set up my router table and run it through the router, and I'll show you that. I couldn't resist this, sorry. Right, and my two halves of the template. I'm going to fix these down with double-sided tape. The more tape, the better the hold. And you really don't want a template to start moving while you're routing. Okay, that's good. it's all going to fit on the MDF. Yeah, okay, that's what I was worried about. And it's pretty smooth at the join, so I won't have the router bit jumping too much. I think there's going to be a little step, probably, but I'm fairly confident that that will smooth out. What I'm doing now is just using a clamp to put some squeeze pressure. Some adhesives need or work best if pressure is applied. Contact adhesive, for example, it's one of those where it doesn't really start working until you apply pressure. In fact, in some cases you're supposed to hit it with a hammer, boom, 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 and the impact sets the glue off. There you go. So next thing, bandsaw, cut off this as close as possible to the edge of the template, just so that I'm not trying to remove with the router too much material. This is my bandsaw. I was going to do the sawing in another part of my cellar basement workshop, but I've just seen how much horrible dust this black MDF produces. I had my router table hooked up to my dust extractor, which is, I have to admit, is not the best in the world. You know, it's pretty poor, but it does work. And the amount of black fine dust on the floor, and also which has got on my shoes and I'm traipsing around the workshop, the amount is terrible. So I thought I might as well just wheel in the bandsaw into here and do it where I've already got a mess. Right, let's fire up the Quattro. I've got it to within about 5-7 millimeters of the template. As I said, the goal here is not to cut up to the template, it's just to remove the bulk of material in an effective, quick and effective way. Somebody more experienced probably could get even closer to the template, but I am not experienced. First time I've ever done this. Just so we're clear, I hope you don't think that I'm trying to share with you the wisdom and experience of years. What I'm sharing with you is that don't be scared, you can do anything for the first time. If you just take your time, think about it, do some research, anything's possible. So honestly, this is the first time I've done something like this. I've seen it online, read about it, theorized it, but never actually done it until today. And it's working. Just a quickie. I'm rather pleased with this as well. I came up with the idea all by myself, although I'm sure it's not an original idea. But I got totally pissed off, quite honestly, with all the time having to walk halfway across the workshop to turn on the vacuum cleaner when I was working at other ends. And I went into Leroy Merlin, which is sort of like our big box store here in Poland. Went to the electrical department, said to somebody, "Have you got switches, plugs that work on remote control?" He said, "Yeah, of course we have." "Oh, here you go, set of 3. And it was $30, something like that, for 3 of them on a remote control. On, off. Wish I'd thought of that a lot sooner. On. There you go. We progress. Right, so I'm going to set up the router table. First time I've used this as well. I'm really chuffed. I think this came out very well. At least it looks like it came out very well. The chamfering went very well. So I'm going to start with this kind of bit. It's called a compression bit, which basically means it cuts down from one place and up from the other place. It's got a clever double helix. And the idea is that there's a bearing. The bearing will go rest up against the template, and I'll work my way around with the bearing all the time on the template, and this will straight cut and trim up the black exactly up to the edge of the template. That's the theory. And other people, with other people, that's for sure the practice. We'll see now whether it's my theory as my practice. Well, it's working. And it's come out nicely, although I can see already, and felt because it kicked a couple of times, that ideally I'd have taken this with the bandsaw even closer. When I did it, I thought, oh God, I can't get much closer. I can see now that it would have been good to get closer to the line. So I'm just going to take this slowly but surely. Well, that's worked a treat, quite honestly. Don't know what more I could want. Exactly what it was supposed to be. Okay, good. Still have to face the issue of cutting the hole out because I've got a bad hole and a good hole. Bad hole, good hole, bad hole, good hole. Okay, so this is going to be my plan of action. I'm going to hog out a lot of the material from the middle. Then I'm going to put this, attach this on top. And then using the router table again, I'm going to come up from underneath with a bearing bit and go around on the inside and remove up to these lines. And that should get me either to where I want to be or very, very, very close to where I want to be. Hello. Just one tiny, I use the word problem, it's not a problem, but a factoid. My template was milled with a 4mm diameter bit. I've been milling out now with a 6mm bit. So therefore, in the round corners, this bit can't go in as far as the template, so I just have to chisel out to the line, so to speak, just to get it to the size that I need. I'm pretty pleased with that. I've still got the template attached on the bottom, just in case, but my leg fits beautifully. Tight as a glove, absolutely tight as a glove. In terms of the aesthetics, I think it looks nice. Actually, you know what? Let's just do a quick and dirty. There you go. My God, I've nearly finished. I've just realised. There's not a lot left for me to do. Put some chamfers on the base. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. I've got one more rabbit to pull out of my top hat. Well, we'll see if it's a rabbit or is it a dead bunny. Ah! Cliffhanger.